NBC News has just confirmed that actor Malcolm-Jamal Warner has died at the age of 54. Authorities in Costa Rica telling NBC News that Warner accidentally drowned while swimming in the ocean on Sunday. Warner is best known for, of course, his Emmy-nominated role as Theo Huxtable, Cliff's son, on The Cosby Show.
I am tired of running for shade. And aren't you tired of being hustled and played? And aren't we all tired of crying about how hard it is to be black in America, even if it looks like we've got it made? But freedom has its limits, so here we are.
The smile we grew up with. The soul behind Theo Huxtable, Malcolm-Jamal Warner, is now gone forever. July 20th, 2025. A date now scorched into the hearts of millions. What was supposed to be a peaceful evening walk along Cocoa Beach in Costa Rica turned into a death scene that's left the world shaken. Malcolm-Jamal Warner was found dead, face down, silent, alone. His final breath stolen by the very waves he once called peaceful. The world didn't see it coming. No health scares. No farewells. No warning. Just, gone. But here's what's more disturbing, the questions no one's answering. Why was he walking that beach alone? Why wasn't his security team with him? Who did he call before his phone went dark? And why was his final Instagram post chillingly cryptic? Sometimes silence screams the loudest. Was this really an accident? Or was something darker hiding beneath the surface? His mother's heartbreaking statement has only deepened the mystery. He came to me in a dream that morning. He said, "Mom, I finally found peace." Hollywood is shaken. The Cosby Show cast is devastated. Felicia Rashad broke down live on camera. Raven-Symoné canceled all appearances. And fans across the globe are demanding the truth, because this isn't just the death of an actor. This feels like something was stolen. We lost Theo. But what we gained are chilling questions that refuse to die. And if you think you know what happened, think again, because the truth about Malcolm-Jamal Warner's final hours is far more disturbing than anyone imagined. That he walked into our lives as Theo Huxtable, the funny, awkward, lovable little brother who made us laugh, cry, and grow. But on July 20th, 2025, that laughter stopped, because Malcolm-Jamal Warner, the man behind the legacy, is dead. And the way it happened? No cameras. No witnesses. Just the sound of waves crashing, and then, silence. The sun was setting on Cocoa Beach in Limon, Costa Rica, a quiet, secluded slice of paradise. Malcolm was there on what was supposed to be a peaceful retreat. He had told friends he needed space, that the noise was becoming too loud, but no one thought he'd never come back. Witnesses saw him that evening, walking slowly along the shoreline, shoes in his hand, sunglasses tucked into his shirt. He looked tired, not physically, emotionally. Like a man who had been carrying too much for too long. And then, the current shifted. Locals say the rip tides that day were stronger than usual, dangerous even for experienced swimmers. 2 men were pulled under. Only one came back. Malcolm never resurfaced for hours. Rescuers combed the shore. Helicopters circled. Divers plunged into the pitch-black sea. The next morning, the Costa Rican Red Cross found a body floating face down. Lifeless. Still. And when they turned him over, there it was. That face. That familiar, unforgettable face that had been part of our lives since 1984. The news broke instantly. Phones buzzed. News feeds exploded. The internet froze. Theo is gone. People refused to believe it. Is this real? Another hoax? Please. Tell me this isn't happening. But it was. And it was devastating. Malcolm-Jamal Warner was just 54. No history of illness. No known enemies. No reason to suspect anything but peace. So why did it feel so wrong? Because this wasn't just a celebrity death. This felt like family, the boy who gave us permission to be imperfect. The one who made us feel normal, seen, safe, just. By being himself on screen. We watched Theo struggle with grades, argue with his parents, get his heart broken. And through it all, we saw ourselves in him. That's what Malcolm gave us, but behind the screen, he was fighting battles we never saw. In the days following his death, a flurry of reports began to surface. And they were chilling. A source from inside his inner circle revealed that Malcolm had been struggling deeply in the weeks before the trip. He was reportedly in conflict with a major production studio over creative control. He had been planning to walk away from multiple projects. One close friend said he felt trapped in an industry that no longer recognized his value. Another source claimed he was dealing with private heartbreak. His marriage, long kept secret from the public, had been on life support, and perhaps most haunting of all, his final Instagram post, just 36 hours before his death, Malcolm posted a photo of the ocean, empty horizon, gray skies, with a single caption, "Sometimes silence screams the loudest." At the time, it seemed like poetic reflection. Now, it feels like a farewell. His mother, devastated, broke her silence just hours after his passing was confirmed. With trembling hands, she read a short letter to reporters. "I saw my son in a dream the morning he died. He was smiling, but his eyes were tired. He said, 'Mom, I'm tired of being strong. I just wanted peace.' And then, he was gone." The grief hit hard and fast across social media. Tributes poured in, but it was what happened on live television that truly showed the weight of this loss. Felicia Rashad, who played Theo's mother, Claire Huxtable, was mid-interview when a producer whispered the news into her earpiece. At first, she froze. Then her face crumpled. And right there, live on national TV, she whispered, "Not Malcolm. Not my son." She broke down sobbing. The interview was cut. Co-stars Raven-Symoné, Keisha Knight-Pulliam, and Tempest Bledsoe all cancelled. Appearances. Bill Cosby, now reclusive and disgraced, issued a short, cryptic statement. "Theo was the best part of the show because Malcolm was the best part of us." The world mourned, not just for the actor, but for what he represented: innocence, black boy joy, relatability, resilience. And yet, there's more, because even as officials ruled his death an accident, asphyxiation by submersion, the whispers started to spread. Who was with him in Costa Rica? Why did he arrive 2 days earlier than expected? Why wasn't his phone recovered? And why did one witness say they saw a heated argument between Malcolm and an unknown man the night before he disappeared? Authorities have refused to confirm or deny anything beyond the official cause of death. But one thing is undeniable: this doesn't feel like a closed case. In fact, insiders are already calling for an independent investigation. One former producer who worked with Malcolm on Read Between the Lines came forward with a chilling comment: "He was silenced. Whether by his own hand or someone else's, he didn't go peacefully." And now, fans are demanding the truth. Hashtags like #Justice for Malcolm and #Theo deserve better are trending worldwide, because as more details leak, the heartbreak only deepens. And one thing is becoming crystal clear: Malcolm-Jamal Warner wasn't just lost to the sea, he may have been lost to something far darker. Something we've yet to uncover. The news had already shattered hearts across social media, but what came next, no one was ready for. While fans gathered for a vigil outside NBC studios in Manhattan, lighting candles and holding up old Cosby show DVDs, something deeply disturbing was quietly unfolding behind the scenes. A series of leaked audio clips, voicemails, and diary excerpts, reportedly recovered from Malcolm-Jamal Warner's Costa Rican rental, began to surface. One of the clips, verified by multiple sources, captured Malcolm's trembling voice in what sounded like a private audio diary: "I don't know who I am anymore. I keep smiling for the cameras, but inside I feel like a ghost. Everyone still sees Theo. They don't see me. They never did." That audio sent the internet into a tailspin. Fans who once laughed at Theo's goofy one-liners now listened to these broken, desperate words, and sobbed at the most painful part. Malcolm had kept his suffering so well hidden. Even those closest to him had no clue he was falling apart. But the most heartbreaking moment was yet to come. The day after his death, Costa Rican authorities discovered a handwritten letter, folded and soaked, beneath a towel near the shoreline. It had been protected just enough to be readable. The letter was allegedly addressed to a mom, assumed to be his late real-life mother, Pamela Warner, who passed away in 2009. In it, Malcolm wrote, "I miss you, Mama. I miss your laugh. Your eyes. That saw straight through me. I'm tired. I feel invisible. I don't know how to carry this pain anymore. Every time someone says, "You'll always be Theo," to me, it feels like another chain tightening. I wish I could have been more than just a character. The world was not prepared for this level of raw emotion. People on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter began sharing the letter, reading it aloud, sobbing uncontrollably, stitching it into videos with the original Cosby Show intro music, the contrast between the cheerful sitcom theme and the darkness of Malcolm's final thoughts hit like a brick wall, but what really shook fans to their core was a private message from his former co-star, Felicia Rashad. She posted a now-deleted video message on Instagram, eyes swollen from tears, voice breaking. "We didn't know. God forgive us. We didn't know. He always showed up. Always gave his best. But I can see now, he was carrying something no one could fix. He didn't just drown in that water. He'd been drowning in silence for years." Suddenly, a pattern began to emerge. Fellow actors, directors, and even childhood friends started speaking out. One after another, they described a man who gave everything, who smiled when the cameras rolled, who hugged everyone on set, who paid crew members' bills when production stalled, who fought for Black creatives behind the scenes, but who never let anyone close enough to see his wounds. In one emotional interview, actress Keisha Knight Pulliam, who played Rudy, his TV little sister, broke down completely. "I remember just 2 months ago, I asked him how he was holding up with all the new Cosby Show documentary stuff. And he just said, 'I'm good, lil sis. It's all noise.' But it wasn't noise to him. I think it was torment. I think he was reliving things we can't even imagine. And now I have to live with the fact that I didn't push harder." Behind all this tragedy, one chilling thread ran through it all: the legacy he carried. Malcolm-Jamal Warner had become the face of a generation's innocence. The big brother we all trusted on screen, but when the Cosby scandal erupted years ago, that legacy turned into a prison, despite having zero involvement in the real-life controversies. Warner found himself trapped in the shadow of Bill Cosby, a shadow that continued to haunt him until his final days. According to close insiders, Warner had been approached repeatedly to give interviews, write memoirs, or publicly speak out against Cosby, but he declined. Every single time, not because he was protecting anyone, but because he didn't want to destroy the memory millions of Black families still clung to. "He felt like he was holding the last piece of our childhood together," said an anonymous family friend. "He thought if he said the wrong thing, even if it was true, it would ruin the good memories everyone still had left. It was a weight no one should have had to carry." And now, that weight had claimed another soul, but just as fans were beginning to process the loss, a second shockwave hit. And this one blew everything wide open. A source close to the Costa Rican investigation revealed that Malcolm's death may not have been accidental. According to a preliminary report, shared confidentially with media outlets, bruises were found along Malcolm's rib cage and upper back. There were signs of a struggle, and though the official cause of death remained asphyxiation by submersion, the possibility of foul play could no longer be ignored. Who was with him that morning? Why did local fishermen report seeing a heated verbal dispute on the beach just 30 minutes before he was found unresponsive? And why did Malcolm's passport and personal phone go missing for several hours after the incident? The questions were multiplying. And the internet wasn't staying quiet. #JusticeForMalcolm began trending on X. Thousands began demanding that the U.S. State Department open an independent investigation. Celebrities like Taraji P. Henson, Issa Rae, and Donald Glover issued public statements, saying Malcolm's death felt wrong, didn't add up, and must be revisited. And just like that, a tragedy became a mystery. But through all the conspiracy theories, through all the whispers of foul play, one thing remained heartbreakingly clear: Malcolm-Jamal Warner died carrying more pain than any one man should have ever been forced to endure. And the world just wasn't paying attention. Fans now play old Cosby Show episodes not for nostalgia, but with tears in their eyes, hearing his voice in a new, devastating light. "You'll always be Theo." Once a term of endearment, now it feels like a chain he spent his life trying to break, and maybe, just maybe, If we had listened sooner, he'd still be here. Just when the world thought the heartbreak couldn't get any worse, the details that emerged in the aftermath of Malcolm-Jamal Warner's drowning painted a picture more devastating than anyone had imagined. According to a chilling report from Costa Rican authorities, Malcolm's body was discovered washed up on the shores of Cocoa Beach just before sunset. Face down, arms stretched out, as if he were still reaching for help. The autopsy confirmed the cause of death as asphyxiation by submersion. But now, witnesses who were with him that day are stepping forward, and their accounts are haunting. It turns out Malcolm had gone to Costa Rica for one last spiritual reset. He'd been deeply emotional for weeks, according to sources close to him. He had just wrapped an independent documentary about healing from childhood trauma, a project he described as draining, but necessary. Friends say he'd been rewatching old Cosby Show tapes, especially scenes between Theo and Cliff, and crying. He told one close friend, "I'm grieving the little boy America never really got to know, the real me." On the morning of July 20th, Malcolm reportedly sat alone on the rocks near Cocoa Beach for nearly 2 hours. According to a nearby cafe owner, he wasn't on his phone. He wasn't talking to anyone. He was just staring at the ocean. He just sat there, staring at the ocean. "I offered him coffee," said a local cafe owner. But he just smiled and said, "Not today." And then, shortly after noon, he entered the water. It wasn't stormy. There were no warning flags. Locals swim there daily, but something about that day was off. According to reports, Malcolm waded out past the safe zone, far beyond where locals advised tourists to stay. He didn't bring a board, no friend, no life vest, and the waves, they weren't unusually high, but they began pulling with an unpredictable force. A tourist named Chloe Evans, who was filming a video blog with her fiancé nearby, captured the moment Malcolm got caught in the current. "At first, it looked like he was just swimming," she said through tears. "But then he started waving one hand, not like, 'Hi,' but like, 'Help.' We didn't even realize who it was at the time. Then he went under. By the time help arrived, it was too late." But that's not even the most heartbreaking part. Hours before he entered the water, Malcolm had reportedly recorded a voice note to his mother. It was never sent, but recovered from his phone. Timestamp, 10:47 a.m. His voice cracks as he says, "Ma, I just want you to know, you gave me everything. I know the world never saw me past Theo, but you always did. You saw Malcolm. You saw your boy. If I don't make it back, just know I found peace out here. I really did." The audio has since leaked, and fans around the world are breaking down. After hearing his final words, one comment under the leaked clip read, "It feels like he knew. Like he knew something was coming. And he made peace with it. I can't stop crying." And then came the gut-wrenching twist. According to his close friend and former co-star Tempest Bledsoe, who played Vanessa Huxtable, Malcolm called her just a day before the trip. "He told me, if I go out, I want the ocean to carry me home." I thought he was being poetic. But now, I wonder if it was a warning. Fans are now swarming Malcolm's final Instagram post, uploaded just a few hours before he went swimming. The caption? "Still healing. Always." Beneath it, tens of thousands of comments pour in. "This hurts more than I can put into words. You weren't just Theo. You were part of our childhoods. You were love. He died alone. But he is not forgotten." In New York, fans gathered outside NBC studios, where The Cosby Show was filmed decades ago, for a candlelight vigil. Candles lit the sidewalk. Photos of Malcolm taped to streetlights. Tears fell, but so did laughter, stories, memories, love. A generation mourned the loss of a man they never really got to know. But who made them feel known? Simply by being Theo. Hundreds showed up with posters, candles, and messages of remembrance. One little boy, no older than 10, held up a sign that read, "Thank you, Theo, for showing me how to be a good big brother." His mother sobbed beside him, but perhaps the most emotional tribute came from a letter found inside Malcolm's journal, recovered from his hotel room. In it, he wrote, "I spent so much of my life performing happiness, pretending. But deep down, I just wanted silence. I wanted to be Malcolm, not Theo. I wanted to be held, not watched. If the ocean is where I find rest, then maybe it's where I was always meant to return. The world had no idea he'd been carrying this pain. The world saw the smile, the charm, the charisma, but what Malcolm never let on was how much of himself he'd buried under the weight of fame. One longtime industry friend put it simply, he spent his life being everyone's TV brother. But who was his? Now, the industry is reeling. Dozens of celebrities have posted tributes, from Viola Davis to Taraji P. Henson, from Anthony Anderson to Jada Pinkett Smith, all expressing heartbreak, disbelief, and deep respect. But fans aren't just mourning a celebrity. They're mourning a part of their childhood. A time when the world felt simpler. A show that brought families together, and a face, Malcolm's face, that represented stability, kindness, and growth. In a world filled with fake smiles and filters, Malcolm was real. And now that he's gone, the silence is deafening. One viral tweet captured it best, we didn't just lose Theo. We lost a part of ourselves. As his body is prepared for repatriation to the US, there's talk of a national memorial, possibly at the Apollo Theater or Howard University, where Malcolm once gave a now legendary speech about identity and pain in Hollywood. But for now, all that remains are the waves that carried him away, soft, quiet, unforgiving, and as the sun sets on Cocoa Beach, the world mourns not just the loss of a man, but the tragic final chapter of someone who carried joy for millions, while quietly drowning in silence of his own. He didn't deserve to go like this. He didn't deserve to be alone. And now millions cry, and not just because Malcolm-Jamal Warner is gone, but because we're finally realizing, far too late, how deeply he was hurting. If you made it this far, you felt it too, that ache, that emptiness, that shiver down your spine as the truth behind Malcolm-Jamal Warner's final hours came crashing down like waves on that distant Costa Rican shore. This wasn't just the loss of an actor. We lost a symbol, a brother, a piece of our childhood. Theo Huxtable wasn't just a TV character. He was the voice of every young black man struggling to find his identity in a world that constantly tries to silence him. And Malcolm, he gave us that voice. He carried it with grace, with power, with pain we never fully saw. Until now, his final moments weren't filled with paparazzi flashes or red carpet glam. They were filled with silence, with water rising, with the desperate gasp of a man who gave the world everything and asked for so little in return. So now it's our turn to honor him, to mourn him, to remember him the way he would have wanted, not with gossip, but with grace. Not with drama, but with dignity. Share this video. Let the world know who we just lost. Comment below what Theo meant to you growing up. Let this space become a shrine of memories. Let his story echo, and if you believe the world needs to remember Malcolm-Jamal Warner's truth, not just his fame, but his final cry, then don't just scroll, subscribe. Because this isn't the end. This is where we finally start telling his story. Rest in power, Malcolm. We'll never forget you.